Are you in need of supplies? Are you in need of supplies? Are you in need of support? Are you in need of support?
Does your gear need repair?
Farewell. He's alive. Come on, then. Time to awake. Wake up!
No strength can prevail against this sickness. What good are swords in the face of this plague? What in the name of... Eridan?
Yes, it's me, my friend.
I have been dreaming.
What was all that about a plague?
I don't know. It was as if I was someone else. I remember a plague and despair.
The Great Plague. Nearly 300 years ago, it devastated the Dunedain in this region. You were sharing the dreams of those for whom this tomb was made.
Well, let those dreams remain with the dead. I want no more of them.
How did you end up in this darksome hole?
I recall we were making good speed through the downs, eager to return to our friends. But a fog began to rise and it became hard to find our way. We began to hear voices calling to us, as if from far off, else underground. And then, the dead were all around us. We fought them, but then I felt the presence of something else, something stronger, more evil. I saw a shadowy figure seize hold of Kalaran and he fell senseless. Then it came for me. That is all I remember. But if I was brought living into this tomb, then the same would be true for Kalaran. We need to find him.
Let's go before any more dead things decide to turn up. sorry about what happened to your comrade, Lewin. Are you going to be all right?
First Black Riders, now Barrow-wights. This is more than men should have to contend with. But where there is life, there is hope. Thanks for your concern, but I will be all right. I owe it to those who have fallen to go on.
We've gathered some rich treasures from this tomb. You certainly deserve a share.
Thanks, but it would only serve to remind me of all of this. You keep what you have won.
You've been through a lot. Maybe you should come with us to Rivendell. Or we can take you to Bree. It's not far away.
No, I feel my strength returning. I'll soon be myself again. And then I will bear Kalaran's body away from these tainted tombs. He should be buried with the rest of his brothers who fell at Son.
That's a noble mission. I hope he can rest in peace now. Farewell.
Ah, Master Elrond. Allow me to present to you Farin of Erebor, a very valiant dwarf.
Indeed. It is an honor to welcome one so brave to my home, and your companions as well.
I am grateful for what you did at Fornost. If Agandar's forces had joined in the hunt, there is little chance that I and my charges would have made it here to safety.
My thanks. Are you the lord of these halls?
Yes, I am Elrond Half-Elven, Lord of the Refuge of Imladris, or as you know it, Rivendell.
Half-Elven? Are there men in your heritage, then?
Both my sire, Earendil, and my mother, Elwing, had fathers who were of the Edain, the most noble of the men of old. They and their descendants are called the Parenthil, which means the Half-Elven.
Are you then of mortal kind, like other men?
To each of the Parenthil is given a choice, whether to become mortal or to accept the life of the Eldar, the Elves. Long ago, I chose to be counted among elven kind. My own children will face this choice as well.
I'll admit I'm surprised a dwarf can find so warm a welcome in the hall of an elf lord.
Conflicts there have been between our folk in the past, but you are one of the trusty folk of Durin's line. More often than not, your people and mine have been allies and friends.
Happy to have been of service. Can you tell me what happened to you after we parted company?
I found the hobbit Frodo Baggins and his companions and led them through the wilderness, hoping to throw the Nazgul off our trail. All the same, 5 of them attacked our camp at Weathertop, and Frodo was badly wounded. After that, the enemy pursued us almost to the hidden pathways of Rivendell itself. We never would have saved Frodo, except that we had the help of Elrond and his people.
I still can't make out why the enemy would send his most terrible servants all the way from Mordor just to hunt for a hobbit.
I think it is time we told our newfound friends what they have gotten themselves into.
Gandalf! I should have known you would be involved with this somehow.
Indeed. Wherever there is trouble and strife, and the enemy is stirring, there you will find Gandalf the Grey.
I believe I have begun to glimpse the truth, yet I would gladly hear your explanation, Mithrandir.
You have more than earned such an explanation. Tell me, what do you know of Isildur's Bane?
Isildur's Bane? Isn't that another name for the Ring of Power?
Quite right. The Ring of Power. The One Ring. The ruling ring. After lying lost and nearly forgotten for centuries, Sauron's ring has once again been found.
Do you mean to say the hobbit Aragorn rescued has come into possession of the Dark Lord's ring?
Aye, that would explain those accursed Black Riders. But what is to become of the ring now?
There is no safe resting place for the ring, not even here in Imladris. It is a danger to all who come near to it. There is only one course left to us. The ring must be destroyed.
Has agreed to take it there.
It cannot be that you will send a halfling alone and unaided into Mordor.
No, certainly not. A fellowship will be formed. A fellowship of 9. 9 walkers set against Sauron's 9 Black Riders. Among this fellowship will be representatives of all the free peoples of the world. Elves, dwarves, and men. Aragorn and I will both be going.
We've proven we can handle a fight. Let us join this fellowship of yours.
The hope of the Company of the Ring lies in speed and secrecy, not in strength of arms. Their number must be few. Even were we to send 1,000 such warriors on this journey, it would do little more than arouse the wrath of the Dark Lord.
We are at your command. Tell us what we can do.
The Nazgul and Agandaur are dire threats. We must learn all we can of their movements before the Fellowship is to depart. Scouts will be sent out in every direction to scour the lands around Rivendell. Your aid in this would be of great service to our cause.
Very well. Where should we start?
Agandaur is our chief concern. Although the Nazgul are powerful foes, our mission here in the north is abundantly clear. We can only guess what Agandaur may be planning, or where he went after he escaped from you.
I suspect he may be planning to move against us here. Sauron's hatred of the elves is very great, and he does not forget the hand we played in his defeat during the War of the Last Alliance.
If it is strength he wants, he may well find it among the Ettenmoors.
You know that region better than I. What can you tell me of the Ettenmoors?
The Ettenmoors are a spur of the Misty Mountains, lying almost directly north of Rivendell. It is a wild region of very rugged terrain, home to many trolls and giants.
I myself was in the Ettenmoors but days ago. I saw no sign of Agandaur's presence. But neither did I encounter trolls. That fact alone is troubling. It could be that they are gathering in force, somewhere among the moors.
If that's so, we don't want them taking us by surprise. We'll make our way to the Ettenmoors and see what we can find out.
From what I have heard of you, from Aragorn and Elrond's sons, I expected no less. Still, you have had a long road and hard fighting to get this far. Take what time you need to rest and recover before you set out. The Ettenmoors are a dangerous place for the unprepared.
The hospitality of my house is yours, for as long as you wish.
It is good of you to seek me out. You're a stout dwarf, like all of Durin's folk, and your courageous deeds have shown your worth.
What's Agandaur after?
It's empty from here to the sea. Still, he would seek to control them. There is power in Rivendell that could stand against him when all others fall. For a time. And this is something Sauron cannot allow.
I came all the way from a lonely mountain to help guard the Shire. Should I abandon what I set out to do?
You fulfilled your oath and protected the Shire when you were needed there, my good dwarf. Now you're needed more urgently elsewhere. With the flight of the ring in this direction, the enemy is looking this way and has forgotten the Shire for now. For now. But eventually his eye will turn once again toward the Shire, as humble as it is. Hobbits as miserable slaves would please him far more than hobbits happy and free. And there is such a thing as malice and revenge. Sauron will leave the final devastation of the Shire to his servant Agendaur. And that is yet another reason why you must find him and put an end to his designs. In opposing Agendaur, you are.
We had one of the great eagles lend us a hand, Claw, at Fornost. Right-handy he was too. I was thinking he might help us get rid of the ring.
I don't fault you for thinking along those lines. Why not beg a ride from an eagle, fly far out to the west, and drop the ring into the deepest part of the sea? Such ideas were debated at Elrond's council. But there are many things in the deep waters, and seas and lands may change. We cannot think of our time alone. We must destroy this thing forever.
A hobbit wouldn't be a burden to an eagle. Send him straight to Mount Doom and problem solved.
Indeed. So simple as that. You think so mighty a creature as one of the great eagles could simply waft into Mordor and escape the eye that never sleeps? No. Not all the eagles of the Misty Mountains could stand against Sauron and the full power of his ringwraiths. It would be folly. Nor, for that matter, do the great eagles take orders from us.
Yes, sorry. I was just thinking about poor Frodo is all, and wishing there were some way he could be spared a trip into the very heart of the enemy's Black Realm.
You have a good heart, and I wish it could be so. We debated many such notions. I had even given thought to dragons. There was a time when dragon fire could destroy a ring of power. But even if the mightiest of the dragons of old, and Calagon the Black, were alive today, his fire would not be enough to consume the One Ring, Sauron's ring. No, there is no other way. Frodo must go to Mount Doom, and you have a foe of your own you must contend with, Agendaur, and there is no telling what allies and powers he is gathering.
When we first spoke, you said you recently passed through the Etten Moors. Can you tell me anything more of them?
It is a rough and empty land, home to many trolls. I passed through with great haste, for I needed to reach Rivendell as quickly as I could.
You said there was no sign of trolls.
I saw neither trolls nor fresh signs of them, and that disturbs me more than encountering one. I doubt they've all packed up and left. Mindless brute creatures they may be. Yet they can be used and driven to even greater wickedness. What would you ask of me now?
This orc lover, Agendaur. Do you know anything about him?
Well, I know nothing of Agendaur himself. I have seen his kind at other times in distant lands. He is likely a black Númenórean, and a master of dark sorceries.
Well, that doesn't sound good. Just what we need, a sorcerer with a 5,000-year-old grudge against all free folk.
Who can say what promises Sauron has made to him? Perhaps even a ring of his own. At the very least, Agendaur expects to rule all of the North. He would be a cruel tyrant. The elves he will seek to utterly destroy. Hobbits, men, dwarves, any that survive, will be enslaved. And he will raise an iron kingdom in the north, in mockery of the ancient glory of Arnor. This is his dark dream. It must never come to pass.
I've things that need doing. Goodbye, Gandalf.
Greetings to you, Farin. Many times in the past have I welcomed your kin to my home. The bond between our kindred has at times been shaken, yet it has never been broken. Always before, I have placed my trust in Durin's folk, and never have they betrayed it. You will always be welcome here in Imladris, my friend. Yet I am certain you did not come here merely to exchange pleasantries. That is not the Dwarven way. Do you have questions for me?
I found this scroll at Fornost. I think maybe you should take a look at it.
A wise decision. This is writ in the black speech of Mordor, a language I will not utter here. It is intended to instruct the reader in the use of dark sorceries.
Well, maybe we should turn the tables on the enemy by making use of this scroll ourselves.
Have a care, warrior of Erebor. You tread on dangerous ground when you harbor such thoughts. This, like all works of the enemy, is altogether evil. Any who make use of this, even from a desire to do good, will only be corrupted by it. Surely the ring has...
What is the Black Speech?
The language devised by Sauron when he desired a single tongue to be spoken by all who serve him. He had small luck introducing it to the scattered tribes of orcs and trolls, but it is still used by his...
Good thing we captured this, then. What will you do with it?
I will destroy this scroll at the very least. But wait, here I discover more. Listen to what is written herein. Scribed by the hand of Agandaur, disciple of the great Lord Sauron, for the empowerment of his servant Wulfrun and those others of his faithful who prove worthy. I will speak no more of these blasphemies, but it does say that this
like Agandaur could have written a whole lot more than just 7.
Perhaps, but creating something of this nature is not a matter of simple scribing. Considerable preparation and effort is involved. We have reason to hope there are no more than 7.
So there are 6 more of these accursed things. Maybe we can find them all.
That would be a great service to our cause. Should you recover them all, bring them to me, and I will ensure they are destroyed.
Why bring them back? I can burn up any I find the moment I get my hands on them.
You will find that works of this sort are not so easily destroyed. There are strong wards placed upon them that protect them from mundane harm. But I have the necessary skill to remove these wards. Should you gather the remaining scrolls, bring them to me.
You can count on that.
In the meantime, please accept this in appreciation for bringing this matter to my attention. Perhaps it will be of service to you in your travels.
My thanks to you. Farewell for now.
Ah, Farin, I am glad you are here. I feel I must apologize to you. When I was told a dwarf had appeared on the borders of the Shire asking to join the Dunedain in their watch, I was suspicious. I instructed Halvarad to keep a careful eye upon you, fearing you were a spy. Clearly he grew to trust you, and after all you have done, I have as well. I'm sorry to have doubted you, my friend.
Apology accepted. Seems we dwarves are often mistrusted. It hardly seems fair. But then I guess you rangers have good cause to be suspicious of strangers.
Perhaps. But we should also remember there are others in the world who are willing to serve. I am glad you chose to do so.
I'd like to know more about those chosen to be part of your fellowship.
Who is it that interests you?
What about this man of Gondor, this Boromir?
Boromir is the son of Denethor, the steward of Gondor. I had never met him before Elrond's council, but long years ago, under another name, I served his grandfather Ecthelion. The men of Gondor are valiant and strong, and by all accounts Boromir is foremost among them in courage and skill at arms. I suspect we will have need of his sword before our quest is through.
Tell me about the Wood Elf, Legolas.
It is fitting that we have a representative of the Eldar, the Elves, along with us on this venture. They have been foes of Sauron since before the ancestors of the Dunedain first returned to the shores of Middle-earth. Legolas is keen of eye and ear, and he is unmatched as a bowman. His arrows seldom miss their mark.
At least you will have a dwarf along with you, and one of the best too. You won't find a better companion than Gimli, son of Glóin.
I have only just met Gimli, but I hope he will prove to be much like you, stout-hearted and reliable, and a terror to his enemies in battle.
What about these other hobbits? Is it wise to send so many of the little folk on this quest?
We are asking much of Frodo. Until recently, he had never set foot outside the confines of the Shire. It will be a comfort for him to have the familiar companionship of his friends and kin, in the face of so much that will be new and frightening. I have traveled with these hobbits, and they proved far more courageous and hardy than many would suspect.
What about Gandalf? What can you tell me of him?
To know all there is to know of Gandalf would require a lifetime study. There is much about him that remains a mystery, even to me. Yet he is a relentless foe of Sauron, and without his vigilance the ring would already be in the hands of the enemy. His wisdom and leadership will be of great value to the Fellowship.
So, you go now to claim the throne of Gondor?
Above all, I go to help Frodo fulfill his quest. For unless the ring is destroyed, Gondor will soon fall, king or no king.
Good luck to you.
Ah, Farin, I am glad you are here. I feel I instructed Halvarad to keep a careful eye upon you, fearing you were a spy. Clearly he grew to trust you, and after all you have done, I have...
Oh, there's no need to apologize. After seeing firsthand what you Rangers have to contend with, I think you're right to be suspicious.
Perhaps. But we should also remember there are others in the world who are willing to serve. I'm glad you chose to do so.
I take it you'd never heard of Agandaur before we spoke of him.
I had never heard nor dealt with Agandaur specifically, but I know his kind. Years ago I served in disguise in the armies of Gondor, where I contended with the corsairs of Umbal, who were often led by those akin to Agandaur. These black Númenóreans are a corrupt and wicked race. They worship Sauron as a god and seek the utter destruction of all who oppose him.
Word is you've traveled a great deal. Is there anything you can tell me of the Ettenmoors?
Only that it is a dangerous and unforgiving place. My own grandfather Alador was slain by trolls in the Ettenmoors. It is important we learn if the enemy is active in the moors, but we do not send you there lightly. Be on your guard at all times while you venture there.
I'd best be on my way.
Even in strange surroundings, you can trust a dwarf to find his way to a forge. You are welcome in my smithy, foreign of Erebor.
I've found a few things on my travels that you might be interested in. Take a look.
Ah, these are work of Westernese, the lost land of Numenor. The men who forged these items were skilled indeed. You have the makings of a unique weapon here. Although these components were never part of a single work, I believe you have assembled everything I would need to make it so. The finished weapon would undoubtedly carry some elven qualities.
What do you mean by that?
Only that with a work such as this, the finished product is liable to reflect the nature of the smith who assembles it. If, for example, a dwarven smith were to complete this weapon, it might possess quite different qualities from the weapon I would create.
It seems fitting that a dwarven smith should do this work for me.
As you wish. I will help you should you change your mind. Even in strange... You are welcome in my...
How is it that an elf of Rivendell knows my name?
News travels swiftly in this household. I suspect everyone in Imladris has heard of your exploits by now. But such adventures are often hard on one's weapons and armor. Perhaps you have need of my services?
Seems like you're preparing for something. Can you tell me what you have planned?
My fellow smiths and I are preparing for a great work. Soon we will be called upon to reforge the legendary sword Narsil. In the meantime, I've been sharpening my skills by practicing the art of imbuing gemstones.
What can you tell me of this sword, Narsil?
Narsil was the sword of Elendil, a mighty lord of the Dunedain who defied the Dark Lord in the War of the Lost Alliance. He bore the sword in battle against Sauron, but he was slain and the sword was broken. Since that time, the shards of the sword have been an heirloom of the House of Elendil. It was to remain broken until the day when an heir of Elendil would go to war to reclaim the crown and title of king. That day will come soon, and the sword must be made whole once again.
What do you mean by imbuing?
Simply that certain objects have inherent virtues, and a skilled artisan can, through his craft, increase those virtues and bind them to an object for advantage. Gemstones are very strong vessels for this process. Sadly, appropriate gemstones have become difficult to find. The growing trouble throughout the land keeps travelers away, and our own people are staying closer to home.
Maybe I can lend a hand with that. I'll be traveling soon.
I would be pleased to have your help. I will provide you with a list of the types of gemstones that are of the greatest value to me. If you collect the stones, I am certain I could create something that you would find useful. But to be of use, the gemstones must be of the highest quality. Fortunately, we have as a guest a dwarf of the Lonely Mountain. Glóin is his name, and he is skilled in the appraisal of gems of all sorts. Once you have gathered the stones, allow him to examine them. He'll know if they are suitable.
I should be going.